Bigger schools, more testing, more programs to meet students' needs, technology. These are all areas where education has changed over the last 40 years.
Yeah, and whether you were a student or a teacher back in, I don't know, say 1979,
Okay.
you've probably seen those changes. On the educator side of it is our next guest. This is Dr. Donna Hanlin. She is the Superintendent of Schools in Wicomico County. Thanks for being here this afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
So that, I say you are, but not for very long. You're retiring?
I am retiring June 30th.
Yeah.
Yes.
So is it, I mean, how does it feel?
Mixed feelings, actually. I'm very excited about having time to spend with family.
Sure.
But long career, a lot of time in Wicomico schools. And so it'll be difficult to walk out the door that last day, but looking forward to what's ahead.
And you're a Salisbury native, so you started your career here in Wicomico County, right?
Yes.
And then where did that go from there?
So I was here for 26 years and then moved to Washington County and was there for 12 years altogether, and then came back here to be the Superintendent of Schools.
Yeah. Now when you started off in the classroom, you were elementary school?
I was elementary at Pittsville Elementary School.
Pittsville Elementary.
Yes.
Oh, I
Yes.
love that school. I imagine the issues, you were a counselor, right?
I was a teacher.
A teacher.
A teacher and then a counselor.
And then a counselor. I imagine the issues back then with children were different than they are now.
They were different, or not as many. I think that, just have to think about society and the world that we live in now, and you recognize over the decades how things have changed. And so the work of a counselor now, the work of a teacher now is much more demanding.
And to think about just overall all the changes that have happened throughout the years as well. Let's talk about some of those big changes that happened.
Yeah. When I think about my first years in the classroom I didn't have a curriculum to follow. And that has dramatically changed. And I've seen it change over the years from, the federal government becoming much more involved with No Child Left Behind and so forth, where, as you mentioned in the intro, the more testing, more accountability. And so now we have standards, we have curriculum, but we have many more resources for teachers to take advantage of, technology, and a lot of resources on the internet, just teaching resources that are much more readily available than they were 44 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, just if you think about the technology from 43 years ago to now, we could do a whole show on that, couldn't we?
Yes, you could. I had chalkboards in my classroom. Then we went to whiteboards. Then we went to interactive whiteboards and beyond. So, yeah.
Well, what advice would you give to maybe teachers who are just now getting into the business of education?
My father always said to my sister and I, make sure that you choose a career that you love because it won't feel like work. And that would be my first. Make sure that you're passionate about what you want to do because being a teacher today is not easy. To recognize that you're going to make the difference in students' lives. You might not recognize it at the time because sometimes it takes decades before those students return and tell you. Make sure you surround yourself with supportive colleagues, mentors. There's a lot more, speaking of changes, there's a lot more in that area of mentoring new teachers. So just make sure you take advantage of every one of those opportunities.
Yeah.
So one quick final question.
Sure.
What's next?
Well, I retired once and I didn't do so well at it. So I definitely plan to retire and spend time with family. We now have 4 grandchildren, so children and grandchildren, and traveling, and more time with my sister who lives less than a mile away from me here in Salisbury. And unfortunately that mile has still been
a barrier.
A barrier.
Yeah.
So anyway, just to relax and enjoy my family.
Well, you certainly deserve it.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Donna Hanlin with
Thank you.
Wicomico County Schools. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations. and good luck.
Congratulations, exactly.
Thank you.